Sean just spoke about running a marathon. I prefer to use a weight loss analogy. So I went for my physical to the doctor that was like 3 years overdue last week. And one of the first things you do is get on the scale. And she wasn't happy with the number. So yeah, so she has her own, set of benchmarks that says I'm a female, I am this height, and I am this age, and I weigh too much. That's what she said. So she has her own set of benchmarks. But I grew half an inch, or a quarter of an inch. Pardon? Change the benchmark, truly. So weight loss. So people, they decide whether because their clothes are a little too tight or because they went for their physical. Come on in, ladies. And if anybody doesn't know, this is Danielle from The Voice. Doesn't she look like her? Oh my God. So people go to Weight Watchers all the time for a reason. Weight Watchers, they help you with your benchmark. They talk to you, you send you to your doctor, figure out what it is that you want to weigh. And then they work with you. They put some steps and processes in place. They give you measurements, things to measure yourself against to see how you're doing with an end result in mind. So when we're talking about that in the business world, and we're talking about benchmarking in your brokerage and what you should measure, thank you. I'm going to talk to you about 5 things. There are 4 things here, but I'm going to talk to you about 5. So the first one is revenue per employee. This is a statement about how efficient you are. How much can you do with the number of people that you've got? So the benchmark, you take your total revenue exclusive of your contingent profit, because you cannot count on it, right? It is not a guarantee, divided by your number of full-time equivalents. And that gives you revenue per employee. And the industry good number is $125,000. So $125,000 in revenue that you are able to manage in your brokerage per one full-time equivalent employee. Does anybody track that in their brokerage today? Rima, you must.
Not for a while.
Not for a while? No. Back to the old Bowman days you did?
Way better than that.
Your revenue, your weight, come on in.
Way better.
Oh, you're making it up now. Yeah, okay, yeah. It is the quantifiable, qualifiable, not the quantifiable we're talking about. Your closing ratio. Who tracks closing ratio in the brokerage? I've got nods, yes? That is a statement of how efficient and how productive your sales team are. So for every 10 estimates they give, how many are they closing? How many deals are they getting? And there's lots of room up here too, Chris, or if you want to go back there a bit. So 75% closing ratio is a benchmark in the industry. So it says, are your salespeople using their time wisely? Are they talking to the right people? So are they marketing in the right direction? And are they following your sales process? Because hopefully your sales process is one that's going to close as many deals as it can close.
Sorry, did you say 75%?
Yes. Yeah. Retention. Who tracks retention? Oh, good. Good. So what do you use? You work with Rima?
I do.
You're so lucky. And you have Rick, yeah.
So she
Yeah, and this is a dog-friendly brokerage, if I recall. So what's your goal for retention, Rima?
We'd like to be over 95%.
Okay.
And we are.
Okay.
That's our benchmark. Our benchmark is 95.
95%.
That's our benchmark.
And that's higher than
We have-
industry norm, yes.
Yes, but we have managed to do that.
Consistently? Or have you?
Yes.
Yes.
Since we purchased the brokerage, yes.
Excellent.
How often do you calculate retention?
Every 6 months.
What'd you say?
You do a
Oh, I
report.
thought you said something. You do it every quarter?
Quarter, yeah.
Yeah? Anybody track it monthly? Yeah? Yeah? And how are you guys doing?
At 92.
Yes. You're pretty much on benchmark, yeah. And how are you guys doing? 92, yeah, yeah. So the more you're reaching out to your customers, which is why you guys are doing so well, right? You have lots of client touches. Yes,
We do as much as we can.
yeah. So it drives it up. Policies per service person. This is service person, not CSR. So if you have split out processing, like you have salespeople selling, servicing people servicing, and processing people processing, then you need to count all the people who are in the servicing side of your transaction. So all of those people, full-time equivalents, divided by number of policies. So for example, if you have 10,000, and my math really sucks, so I'm going to rely on somebody else. So you have 10,000 policies in your personal lines department, and you have 10 people servicing them. You have 1,000 policies per service person. Whether that's your CSR, your processor, your admin person, if you have part of your receptionist scanning, if you're doing scanning of documents, all of that counts into your service person. So like Amanda was talking yesterday, they're seeing 1,000 policies per service person, and the industry, like a good running brokerage, is 850. So they're seeing above that. Yeah. Commercial lines, it's not policies per service person, it's revenue per service person. Because you can have a commercial lines policy or commercial lines customer with 2 fairly large policies that bring in a significant amount of revenue, and it's not going to look it on your policies per service person. They have a lot of time invested in the relationship with that large commercial customer, so hence it's on revenue, and that's $200,000 revenue per service person, calculated the same way. So what other metrics do you guys use that we haven't talked about? Amanda, any suggestions? No? I know one Richard's going to say in a few minutes, but we're going to give him a chance to get there. So what all those numbers say is how efficient you are, how good a use you're making of your technology, how refined your processes are, how well your people know your processes, how repeatable your processes are, and how much accountability you have. So they're all positives.
Just ask one question for the commercial.
Yes.
Does that include the producers as well too?
No. Well, okay, no. No, I'm going to take that okay out, no.
So it would be exclusive of the revenue that the producer is taking from the accounts?
It's revenue to the brokerage.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't take your producer commission out of it. It's revenue you get from the carrier for having that business in your office. So your 20% or whatever it is that you get commission on that.
But sorry, when you count the service persons, it's the technical service rep, the broker, but not the producer. That might be involved in that.
Correct, correct. Because I hope, and this is just my training and my belief system, I hope that the producers are actually focused on the relationship, not on the servicing. Because that's not, you know sales folks, right? They're really good at relationship. The detail stuff isn't their best natural talent. So they shouldn't be involved in that service process, in my estimation. And that's my humble opinion. So can we agree that you have to have your technology current? You have to have your procedures in place. You have to have the right people in the right job, right? Yes? Yes? And you have to be looking at how you're doing things on a continual basis to meet the industry benchmarks. Can we agree on that? Yeah. Okay. So the things we're going to go through now deal with the efficiency part of your brokerage, which drive your revenue per employee, your policies per service person, your revenue per service person, and your retention. And we've got 40 little tactics, efficiency tactics. So for each one, it's in your handout. For each one, I'm going to ask you to indicate we've done this, we've started this, we must do, which means we haven't started, or yeah, you know what, we've just decided this is not in our interest to do this. So I have to get, well, I'll just look behind me here. First one, very, very basic, think, talk, type. So what that means is every call coming into your brokerage, nothing or very little is getting written down. You are right into your, oh sorry, not everybody has them. You are right into your BMS, you're right into your CMS, and the information is going in there. It's not being written down by whoever answers the phone, and then later it's getting entered into the system. Think, talk, type. It goes from here, right out the fingertips, right into your system. Oh, you need some down there too, John? Okay, thank you. Second one is headsets. It's really difficult to think, talk, type when you're like this with the phone. And really all that does is make people do this. So headsets for everybody. your accounting people, your receptionist, your sales people, your service people, your admin people, your IT people, your principals, your managers. Everybody has to have a headset. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me for assuming that. And uses it. So managers, owners, yeah, it has to be a non-optional behavior. Everybody uses it. Dual monitors. And Sean mentioned that upstairs. Once you go from one monitor to two, 33% improvement in productivity. And I cannot imagine what that number is when you get to a third. I can't imagine it's another 33% improvement. So does everybody have dual monitors for everybody in their brokerage? Even for Rick. Does Rick have 3, Rima?
They have like the massive monitors.
And you split it, but you still, that's still dual. Yeah. Does everybody have dual monitors for everybody in the brokerage? Yes, yes. And you know, it's not expensive. So if you don't, please look at it. Especially accounting people, when they're doing reconciliations.
And make sure they're not little.
Okay, this is Amanda's thing. She would like to repeat that. Make sure it's not little.
Yeah, don't provide little monitors because they have 2. They still need the same landscape on the 2 monitors to work effectively.
Yes, yes, that's a very good point. The next one means that we have no paper files left in our office. For personal lines is the first one. Even for VIP, no paper files. Everything's electronic. So everybody only goes to one place to find information on that customer. The next one is for commercial lines. Everything is electronic for your commercial lines customers. Right, Cheryl?
Right.
Everything's in your BMS, everything's in your CMS, or everything's in your document management system. Who still has commercial lines, paper files? Yeah. The hardest sell, isn't it, in the brokerage? It really is. So you know what worked with us? It was our principal who was the holdback, and we promised that we would print that fast whatever he needed to take with him to go and visit a customer. That whenever he needed paper, he would have it, because he was the holdout. So take one person, take a producer at a time, and sell them on it. And they're going to start being your salesperson in your office. But bottom line, who are the principals in the room? Managers, yeah? It's your money, right? You get to direct how business is done in your office. With buy-in, but you got to sell them on it. So if you're electronic, have you turned off the paper with your markets? If you're getting your documents electronically, going to the portal and getting them in bulk, getting them individually, or you've got e-docs turned on, have you turned off the paper? Yeah? For every market for which it is available. Good. Okay, this one's a tough one. Right, Amanda? Right, Cheryl? A standardized current procedure manual. I know everybody has one, but is it current? It's besides selling commercial lines on a paperless environment, it's the second hardest thing to do in a brokerage. Because who has responsibility for keeping it current? That's what you need in the office. So if you have, put an asterisk beside that, if you have a person responsible for keeping your procedures current. Key. Unless Vince would like to do it for you. Vince, are you going to offer to keep everybody's current?
Sure.
Good. You are doing EDI download for all markets, for all lines of business for which it is available. Done, started, must do, or no plans. And if anybody has put no plans, please stay after. We're going to have a conversation. Because truly, I know it's not perfect, but I know we can work with our vendors and our carriers to get it perfect as it can be. It's standards. You got to have that. That's really high at the top. So if you're doing EDI download, have you also turned on automatic invoicing for all the carriers, for all the lines of business, for all the transactions for which it is available? Huge savings. We had somebody in the session yesterday, oh, that was reconciliation, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but do you have some numbers about savings? Vince, Kim, do you have?
already spoke to them.
Pardon?
Those savings on,
On human resources, time and turning ADI versus somebody keying it.
no numbers.
It's at least 80% of your billing time. So if every transaction takes 30 seconds, it's 80% less when you turn the automatic payment.
So from 30 seconds to 6 seconds. Yeah, yeah. And you know what, if you haven't turned it on, you heard Sean, baby steps. So pick a market, pick direct bill renewal transactions, learn from it, and then everybody's going to go, wow. And then you're going to want them all. They're going to say, when's the next market? When's the next market? Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we work with our customers to turn it on, generally starts out that they're quite hesitant.
Yeah.
And they start with one market, one transaction, and then they schedule when they're going to do the rest. And I've yet to see a client not get to the second or third step and just turn it all on. Because then you can see the value and you can see,
Yeah.
again, you're touching generally less than 10% of your transactions. So the time savings is huge.
And then go back to number 6 and turn off the paper. Give yourself time to get used to and get confidence in what's coming down. And then turn off the paper. But don't forget about leave it sit there. Turn it off. You see the courier that comes into your office, eh? The pile that somebody date stamps. They sort it. It goes to somebody else who sits, they enter it. And then do they scan it? And then you pay somebody to shred it. Yeah. Is that efficient? It's not efficient, guys. It's evolution, but we've come of age on this one. Yeah, we're all the way there. So, and I think all the BMSs or some of the BMSs can do this. If you are generating renewal letters for your customers, and your BMS can do it from the download transaction, are you having that done? Or do you have somebody else actually generating renewal letters? When the system could take it, do it for you. Put that down as your next action, talk to my BMS vendor. Yeah. Voicemail. Everybody have voicemail? I need to say no more? Are you changing it every day? Is everybody in your office mandated to make the voicemail message current? Every single day. Hi, you've reached a voicemail from Wendy Watson. Or today's, what is today? Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday, May the 29th, you've reached a voicemail from Wendy Watson. I'm out of the office today at a seminar. I'd be happy to get back to you tomorrow. Thanks for calling. Have a great day. By the way, please note that coverage cannot be bound. Anyway.
That's why you don't like to change it every day.
But it's for the customers that we're changing it every day. So if they just get a carte blanche voicemail that says, hi, you've reached a voicemail for Wendy Watson. Is she on vacation? Is she actually in the office? I called her yesterday. She hasn't called me back. Well, if they called me yesterday and I changed my voicemail and said that I was at an event all day, they would know why I hadn't called them back, or I'm setting an expectation of when I will call them back, and they're not calling back in. And set your expectation in your voicemail message. I commit to returning your call back by. Or if I don't get back to you by the end of the day, I will for certain call you back by. Set your expectations. And this is Richard's, backup. How many people use hosted services? No? No? Oh, this is where Vince is going to want to jump up and down, go use TAM online or whatever. So if you're not using hosted services, you have servers in your office. You have services in your office? Yes. Servers in your office? Did I say services? Oh, what kind? That's another conversation. I told you you were good. I told you you were good. That's why they have 95% retention. I'm telling you now. Okay, no, servers. Okay, so backup. So who's backing up to tape drive? You have a server. It does backup. Yep. So Richard, what's your question here?
Well, my question was, is this list in order of priority? Because I don't want to see backup at number 12.
It's not in order of priority.
That's good, because if you're not doing number 12, you can't be doing 1, 3, 4, 5, and all these others safely.
Why?
And, well, I have a statistic for you here. Another industry benchmark that's made up on the spot. 92%
You made it up on the spot?
82% of statistics are made up on the spot. 90% of brokerages are not backing up their systems correctly. And that's based on our audits, not just of brokerages, but of companies in general. Think they're backing up their systems, think they're backing up all their data, and think they can be up and running again quickly and make a problem. And the majority of them are not. So backup should be replaced with something along the lines of business continuity. rather than just back up.
But people still do need to back up. So whether they back up,
That's part of
yeah.
it. But a backup on its own is useless without recovery and testing. And
Well, that's where I was going to go next, yeah. So if you are backing up, have you tested your tape, your backup, to make sure that you can actually extract data from it?
We've actually relied on that once, end of last year.
Yeah, and?
We relied on it.
And it worked?
We were up and running, I think it was half a day.
Okay, so Lori, had you tested it before?
No, it was like,
Oh my God,
I was
woman.
like, I pray this is gonna work.
And you know what? We are in the business of insurance, and this is so typical of almost all of our offices. Yeah,
We were very lucky.
Chris?
At that point,
Yeah,
full backup. I knew of a broker back in the mid-90s who was doing an incremental actually a partial backup every night. So he was only backing up certain databases on Monday, certain databases on Tuesday, and certain on Wednesday. Well, he crashed on Friday, and he had databases that were not in sync. So they ended up having to go back to a tape backup from a month prior, when the last time was they actually backed it all at the same time, and the databases are all in sync. And that was a large brokerage.
well, and even to build on that is, you guys back up every night, right? So if you back up tonight, your system crashes overnight. How do you know what you did yesterday? Or, yeah, tomorrow, sorry. You backed up last night. Yeah, sorry, I'm on drugs. You backed up last night. We're working 4 o'clock today, our system crashes. So we have to use last night's backup. How do you know what you did today, all day? She's writing it down. Richard?
There's one more point, and it's to do with the audit part of it. As you get more and more involved in real time,
Yeah.
that situation gets much worse. Because if you then have to recover your BMS to last night's backup, all of your carriers have your data and your changes you've done all day, but you don't. So how do you get out of that? So
They'll come down on the EDI, an overnight cycle, so you'll be updated the next day.
Anything that you put into the systems will come back.
and you test that?
That's happened before, we've had to get stuff
We've
rerun
had to,
before.
yeah, we've had to do that once.
Yeah, it works.
You guys want to say
Well,
something, Vinny?
there's, I mean, the conversations that you have with your clients all day, that you log in activity notes, you know, how do you recover that?
That's right.
You know, we've had situations with clients who had 7-year-old servers, and then something happened, but try to have Dell track down a tape drive for 7 years ago that fits your tape, I mean, that's a challenge. You
It's
know,
a
finding old
Yeah.
equipment to match your old tape that you haven't, you know, bought a new server in many years.
It's
lot
a
of
challenge.
there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what we did at Precept is we went to cloud backup. And our next step, so that we used Richard for that.
Actually, you went to hybrid, which is
Well, I was going
uses cloud.
I was going to expand on it, Richard.
You told me to speak up.
Yes, I did. But where, could you speak up more quietly? So where Richard was trying to get us to, though, was continual backup. So all day long, we're backing up. So if we crash at any moment, the least we're gonna lose, or the most we're gonna lose, is what we did since our last backup. Those activities, because as you guys said, it'll come down and download tomorrow. But as Vinny said, all those activities and stuff we did are gone.
So
Yeah,
when you
Rima.
do continual backup, is there a hiccup in the system? Does it stop working? Like, do you feel it, or is it just
No.
like in the background?
No,
It doesn't affect your work processes?
No, and that's the point nowadays. The technology is available and it's affordable enough to do that.
So it doesn't interrupt your...
Exactly.
And I suspect that's what you guys are doing, or you're mirroring or something, and whoever does hosting, you guys do hosting, so I imagine you guys are doing that continually, right?
All day long.
Thank the
In the
Lord.
online environment, it's a complete storage area network, so it's, you know, it's completely redundant.
Yeah, it's all redundant, good.
We have a
Okay.
number of our brokers who have their own servers who are doing it as well.
Good. Yeah, but you have to deal with it. So those who are, kudos to you, but just it's an efficiency thing. If you can't get back up, if you lost a day full of stuff, activities, yes, you can get your downloads, your conversations with your clients and whatever, what's the impact on the end user, which is your customer, and how much time do you spend recouping that? Big cost. Email to a request to carriers. So where you can send stuff, via real time, are you using email wherever possible versus courier and snail mail? So to build on that, do you have a centralized place for email addresses so that there's one place where they are all current instead of all users yelling out? So what's the current email address for economical, for personal lines? There's one current place for that. Efficiency, and one person responsible for keeping that current. Call recording. Who's doing call recording? Yeah? Physical abuse is also, they have pets and they hit each other. So Lori, why? Why do you have call recording?
So we can do verbal binding and
Yeah?
signatures required.
What else? That's one of the nice benefits, because it's not with every carrier. But why else are you doing call recording? E&O. I'm doing some consulting for a broker, and they had a person who was in their office for only 4 months, and they terminated her. And had a client call in with a claim, and the company denied the claim, or was denying the claim, went back, and she had not done any, it's Blue Butler that they were using, she had not linked any of her calls through to the BMS, so had to go through and search based on incoming phone number. Time consuming, do you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 months worth, yeah. But anyway, found them. And she had lied to the carrier. So she got information from a client which was on the recorded call. She told a completely different story, recorded to the carrier. The carrier honored the claim. Yeah, that's a broker error. That's why they honored the claim. Call recording, yes, it is expensive, but I think it's the way we've got to look at going, guys. For so many different reasons, yes. And then the next one is what Lori said, is a lot of markets, several markets, will allow verbal binding. So you share your script with them about what you're saying to bind coverage with the consumer. And then you don't need to do this emailing or faxing applications back and forth to the customer. You have verbal binding only. So that makes that whole new business step or process just a little bit shorter.
And that's a great piece because it really levels the playing field against the direct writer.
Yes,
that
yes.
Go back every single day.
Yes.
A little bit on the Blue Butler as well.
Wait, guys?
There's less activity
Just-
because the phone call is recorded. You don't have to be as detailed on the activity, the typing activity.
As long as your details are clear enough that the next person getting that customer knows what's going on without having to go back and listen to the conversation. Because that will just take more time, and that's not point of sale service. So yes, probably, yes. Quoting with minimum data. So, and I apologize that I only know CompuQuote. But I know that with CQ, and I think it was $45 more a month that I was quoted when I was consulting at a customer's, that, you know, where you can get an auto quote with just driver's license number. It brings all the auto plus information in, you're really validating it. And there's iClarify with just the 11 data points for property. Takes your quote time from here down to here. And I know, I'm sure the cost, right boys, is $45 a month?
Well, it's transactional based, it depends on how many lookups you're doing a month. So that's called pre-fill. That
Yes,
pre-fill
yes.
And then the RMS ITD on the.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure PowerQuote and TeleQuote all do that, right? You can't tell me that. Could you make it up? Like Richard's making stuff up.
PowerQuote does not.
I can make it
Huh?
big.
PowerQuote does not do pre-fill.
It doesn't, okay. So if it does, please investigate it. Because it really is quoting from here to here. And that will help drive the closing ratio. EFT payments. Who's paying their carriers with EFT versus cutting a check, having two people sign it, chase them down, have them sign it, put it in an envelope, lick the envelope, put it in courier, have somebody take it out of the courier, change it to, you know, $600,000 instead of $60,000, and blah, blah, blah. It's not hard to set up. It's not expensive to do if you do it in bulk. Please look at EFT payments. PDF month-end reports. So at month-end, you're running AR, right? In several different formats. Maybe you're sending it out to each of your producers. You could be running it by line of business. You're running producer statements. You're running production reports. You're running an income statement, profit and loss statement. What else are you running at month end? Your account current, if you have agency bill, a direct bill. Are we printing them in paper still? And 3-hole punching them and putting them in a binder and putting them in a room? And never looking at them again. So seriously, look at PDFing them. Create a separate drive, an accounting drive, put security on it, only accessible by certain people, and put the reports in there. send an email to your producers, attach their producer report, the PDF, to an email to them, and they can email back any corrections. No paper going everywhere. Printer costs down, yeah. More trees around, much happier days. Electronic reconciliation. Amanda's the expert on this, but you can get your account currents, your direct bill reports from your carriers in very many different formats. Some will send them to you as an Excel spreadsheet. You can sort it every which way to Sunday and then reconcile it against your system. You say it much better than I do. Continue on.
Well, this is a piece that would go along with the automatic billing as well. So one of the hurdles that a lot of brokers sort of have in deciding to move forward with automatic billing is how do we find our mistakes? So if we're letting it automatically go through, how do we find them? The reconciliation is where you would find those errors. So it's shifting, but you don't want someone sitting there checking the page one by one. So you want to automate that process. So when the company sends it in an electronic format, you can electronically compare your two statements together and save a lot of time. So really you're only looking that 10 to 20% that I was talking about that have errors, that's what you're going to find in your reconciliation statement. The automatic billing also makes the reconciliation process easier because
Yes.
you're actually billing everything that the company sends you and reversing everything that the company sends you the same way. So it really streamlines that process.
And you need to make sure that your defaults for commission by carrier are correct in your system. And Vinny, what did you want to add to that?
But the difference here is, so we talked about US brokers doing more real time. They don't even do download invoicing. So they just grab that file from their carriers once a month, and we call it import direct bill, and just import it all at once. It's reconciled and it's invoiced all at
Wow.
once. Whereas in Canada, there's a huge uptake on the download invoicing,
Yep.
and then there's a reconciliation piece after that. So just to show you the differences in what.
Boy.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. That's
Yeah.
interesting, eh?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at it because
Yeah.
obviously you'd have to watch, I guess with the direct bill it would work. But with
It would.
agency bill-
Yeah,
It wouldn't work with agency.
Yeah, the direct
It'd be
bill
nice
would
if they could do it in reverse with agency bill, take our file and
Yeah.
e-marketing to clients. How many brokers are niche marketing? That you write niche business. You're writing VIP clients, you're after motorcycles, you're after people who have motorhomes, you're after high-end homeowners, you're after certain niches of commercial lines. E-marketing to those clients. So, snail mail marketing, smile and dialing is really difficult, but you can use, there's a lot of information in your BMS. You can set up marketing plans in your BMS. Vince is nodding, he can probably say this way better than I can, but let your system do the work. Reach out to your customers. And it isn't just for sales. If a company offers a new product or they offer a new endorsement to a certain class of business, you can use e-marketing to make your clients aware of it. It's a reason for them to then pick up the phone and call you, and gives you an opportunity to talk to them about very many different things. What would you like to add to that, Vinny?
Well, it's just about driving revenue, right? So
Yes.
how can we drive, and I think Sean spoke about it, or maybe Bill this morning, is driving revenue with your current client base.
Yes.
And you got all this data in your system, like drive that, right? So if you want to cross-sell, upsell, drive that.
Yeah.
We needed to do some contest in our office just to make sure that the brokers were populating the email address.
Yes.
Because we at one point started and we said we had 40% of email addresses. Even a couple months later, we were up to 60 and 65, so we were monitoring that. So.
Yeah, that is, to keep it current is rather difficult, yeah. Yeah. But you can even use it to, if you have a huge book of seasonal residences, you can email blast out to those customers using this to let them know or remind them about tips when you're closing your cottage or when you're opening your cottage, when you're putting your antique vehicle away, when you're bringing it out. And it's not, about your renewal, it is about adding value to your consumer. So huge tool, huge tool. New business upload, wherever possible. You're either using Keel Connect, the Butterfly, Bravada, Gateway. You're sending it via email, but you're not sending it via courier, wherever possible. Yes? Done. Starting. So first of all, you learned this morning when you were with whichever BMS, you learned what you can do with your markets for new business. You learned who's doing what. So are you doing it with all of them? And electronic documents, I seem to be stuck on it, and e-docs. For all of your markets, as electronic documents or e-docs become available, because our carriers say that we're not making use of this to the highest extent. Economical thanked me again this morning because we're not taking it up. So, e-docs or electronic documents, if they're available, are you using them versus getting the paper into your office, scanning it, and then paying to shred it? Because what they said to me is what I hear from very many carriers. If we're not doing the simple stuff, forget policy change, forget real-time rating. Peel Mutual at our panel yesterday told us they implemented new business in 2010 for automobile. 6 figures. That's in the millions.
I think you said
7? Okay, that's in the tens of millions to build it, and they turned it off because brokers aren't using it. Seriously, brokers? This is what we're asking for. We're saying we need to work like State Farm, cooperators, direct writers like Bel Air, like RBC. And yet when they try to give it to us, we don't use it. We got to. And if we don't know how, let's ask. There's so many smarts in this building here today, so many smarts. And if you don't know who to ask, info@orbitcanada.ca, we'll find you somebody who's done it before.
And Wendy, if I could just add to that.
You can.
If you're not using it because it's not working, because it's not helpful, let them know. Don't just stop using it. Because we get feedback from our clients when we're working with them. Well, we don't use it because it takes too long or it doesn't pull over what it's supposed to. Unless you tell the vendors or the carriers that it's not working, they won't fix it. So we can't just stop using it and hope they'll come out with something new. We have to help them to make it better for you.
And what I find, we as brokers are nurturers, and we're really good at finding a way around that which doesn't work. So we don't work to get it fixed, we accept it, and we build the road around it. Yeah, so let's change it. E-marketing submissions. What the heck is that, Cheryl?
So with PolicyWorks, you have the ability to upload to about 10 insurance companies across Canada. So from Intact, Aviva, Economical, Coachman, a couple of the ones in Quebec as well. And Dominion will be coming on board this fall. So the ability to upload and then also download for some of those carriers. With Coachman, we also have the ability for binding, downloading policies, downloading renewals with Intact as well. So there's a variety of different e-marketing rather than just submissions that are available through PolicyWorks, and it's the same thing.
With,
as what we were just talking about.
XP, ComXP, yeah. And with Applied, dude?
We partner with PolicyWorks.
There you go. So commercial lines, look at your business maybe a little bit differently. I sat in the PolicyWorks demo yesterday, and it's been a while since I've seen it, and I was pretty tickled. Like on all the stuff that's happening, and you know what the producer has in front of the customer with the iPad, it's pretty awesome. Real-time inquiry. Again, the carriers tell me that their billing departments are getting calls from brokers to ask, when is this client's next payment? Oh, they bounced their check, and when are we hitting them for the extra withdrawal? Claims, what's the claim number on this policy? And that information is available at your fingertips from your BMS, but we're not using it. So let's use it.
Also with the PolicyWorks and the CMS, we have a number of real-time inquiries with a number of companies as well.
Excellent. I didn't know that part. I missed that yesterday.
Aviva, Coachman, all have the ability to go and do real-time inquiries.
And on the testing that I've done, an average inquiry, 24 seconds. So if you're the client on the other end of the phone, do you want to wait for a call back while I call the underwriter and get that information? Do you want to sit on hold while I sit on hold waiting for somebody at the company? No, if I'm a consumer, I want that answer in 24 seconds. That's what I want as a consumer. Does everybody here have a website? Yes? And it at least has some information about how to contact you? Yes? Yes? It's on the next page, but can you quote from your website? Yes? I think, was it Bill told us this morning, 80% of the people looking for insurance, 80% go the web. They may not buy there, but 80% are going to the web. So if they heard your name in the community and they go to your website and they can't get a quote there, they're just going to go to the next one. Yes, Laura E.
I'll just share this. I don't have the full detail because I'm not really directly in the project. Our website, we have a new website rolling out by August, and we're working with Kinetics,
Yep.
who are doing our lead generation to our website, and CopyQuote, who's still an writer. So it's like totally revamping the way we do business. And then eventually we're going to add the change.
Yes.
By the end of the year. This is the plan.
You've been listening. Vinny?
So just to add to that though, so we've had calls with Easy Leads, so the CopyQuote
Yes.
Easy Leads that goes on your website, so people have said, hey, we're getting like 2 a month. So, but are you telling anybody that it's there? So there's a whole effort behind it. If you build it, they're not coming until you tell them it's there.
Yes.
Right, so.
E-marketing.
To say, exactly, you gotta tell people it's there.
Yeah, in conjunction with that, sorry, we're doing the, what's that called? SEO?
SEO, search engine optimization.
We're paying to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, John's talking about this upstairs after at the end session. But I'm going to fight to have you back here for moving to an e-environment. But he's going to tell you how to do that if you haven't got it. Forwarding your phone, your office phone to the cell. And this is really for commercial producers, but have their calls follow them. Most phone systems can do that, but most people don't. And you can hook. Blue Butler can handle. I have 5 minutes. 7 minutes. Good Lord in heaven. Thank you for being here. Blue Butler can handle recording of those calls as well. So you just have to contact Blue Butler to set that up. But I know for sure it can because I just set it up at another brokerage. Endorsement Bridge, if your brokerage is doing processing for carriers, or in carrier portals, not for carriers, it is for carriers, I apologize. Are you using the endorsement bridge versus re-entering information? So it takes all the client information in for you. We've got online quoting, real-time policy change. This doesn't mean real-time policy change because it is only Unica and Keel doing it currently. But do you have something on your website that gives the client the impression that they are reporting a change to you at any time, day or night? A fill-in place on your website. Laura, you're going there, right? Yeah. So it's not going to actually get processed, but clients can tell you what they need to tell you whenever it is convenient to them to tell you. Then you deal with it the next day. You put a caveat on there that says, coverage isn't bound until you hear back from a broker from, affiliated insurance or wherever. Importing prospects. Growth, growth, growth. Every brokerage wants to grow. Every brokerage needs to grow. What every brokerage does not need to do is pay somebody to type names and addresses into prospects in their BMS. Import, wherever you get your prospects from, import them into your BMS. Correct, Vinny?
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. So do it the easy way. E-newsletters. Does everybody do a newsletter to the customer? Yes? If not, you really need to look at doing it and make it electronic. It's another reason to get your customer or to have contact with your customer. Have it on your website so you could even drive the activity to your website for them to look at it there. It's another way for them to see all the things you do. You have another idea, don't you, Vince?
Well, it goes into, and Bill mentioned this morning, so self-service.
Yes.
Your client self-service on your website. So giving them the capabilities to look up things and do things
Yes.
after hours, so after 9 to 5, before
Yes.
9 on weekends.
Yeah. Yes. Texting with clients. A lot of brokerages frown on this, but as Bill talked about this morning, we've got to communicate with our clients in a way in which is convenient to them and in a way in which they want to do it. Now, you watch anybody or watch any street, and what are people doing? When they're driving, what are they doing? Yeah. So you need to have something in place in your brokerage to allow your staff to communicate with your clients in a way that they want to and still get that into your system. Yes, Vinny?
So you can actually fill out your email field. There's a certain code you can put in your email field for texting to Bell customers, and it'll actually, your message from Outlook or wherever you're doing email will actually go to a text message to someone's phone. So Bell has it set up, Rogers has it set up, so you just put that in your email field and it will automatically text it to them.
So you
Think
have
if
to
you
know whether
Google
they're like
text
Rogers or Bell, or could you put multiple sources in there and hope it gets to them?
Well, it depends how many fields you have for a cell phone field, right, in whatever system you're on.
Because you have to know what carrier they were with.
You would, yeah. But if you, when you talk to them to get the
There-
number, ask them.
Yes. And Amanda, you wanted to add something real quick?
I think if you Google text to email, you can get all of those little short codes
Right,
that you
yeah.
put in front of it. So certainly you have to find out from your client, but it's a way of tracking because you can actually put the email right into the system.
Yes.
Telus does it as well.
Yeah.
And I
We're
think
currently, we're currently building a tool for texting to clients that the reply put back in the email form and they can be attached to the activity, so it rounds out the entire process.
I think we might want to add to that, the texting, but the social
Media,
media as well.
period.
So you've got your
Yeah.
Facebook and
Yep.
stuff like that, that they will also want to use.
And mobile app. So I don't know if anybody's bought the one that IBAO has put out for reporting. Yes? Yeah? And how's your take up?
Well, we had to install it in a few phones for them.
Okay, good,
The people that have it liked it.
good.
We're not getting a lot of feedback, but
So how are we marketing it to them? Are we telling our customers what's available? Yeah?
we're putting it on our email that's
Good.
going out, it's on our website, you have stickers,
Yep.
all the letters.
It'd be a really good reason to reach out to every single customer in an e-way to let them know. Yeah. But if you haven't, it's really important. It's a mobile app. So IBAO's got the one for reporting claims. And you can actually look at policy information too, if I'm not mistaken, Rima? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I forget what the fee is. There is a fee they charge you every month. I think it's $500 initially, then a fee every month to have access to it. Yeah. Client changes via website. We talked about that briefly. Perception, not reality. Let them think they're reporting them to you. Intranet. Do you have an intranet? A place where you post all of your procedures. So there's one place where everybody in your brokerage goes, and it's current. Your anniversaries, to your people's birthdays, what's going on at carriers, training that you've got coming up, your HR policies, a copy of whatever marketing you're sending out to your customers, so your staff have one place to go and look at it, so they know what your customers are getting. An intranet, a point of reference to keep your staff current on what you're doing. After hours claim service. Does everybody have a way of dealing with claims after 5 o'clock? Yes? Yes. And we're not sending them to the carrier, right? Right. We're dealing with them.
Don't pass them.
Okay. Yes, Dorothy. What's the name of your land? If you don't, you need to find a way. Yes, 2 minutes. Oh my God, I'm always late. Home processing. Just a little thought here that, and I know that automatic invoicing is changing this, but it's expensive to house people in your office to data enter, to do your processing. I would strongly encourage looking at going to home processors who are contract workers. Yeah, very successful. So, and we won't get through this today, and I'm sorry, Amanda, you need to tell me 20 minutes ago that I was behind. Yeah, next time we'll do better. Yeah, sorry. So there's lots of good information in this room. So this is how you rate yourself. So you're going to go after and you're going to finish this, because you're going to talk about this on the way home or when you have a meeting at your brokerage next week. And you're going to count on each sheet. There's a total along the bottom where it says done, started, must do, no plans. You're going to count the number of done, and you're going to get a total. You're going to multiply that by 5 for all of your 4 pages and give it whatever that score is. Your starteds times 3, your must do times 1, and number of no plans. This is a value judgment. I want you to revisit the no plans and think, geez, maybe we need to rethink this. And if it's something you should have rethinked and you said no plans, I want you to take 1 away. And then that asterisk that you had to do before, I want you to add 3 points. And then you're going to get your score here. And I have to look up my numbers because I don't retain them. Your highest score is 190. And if you got 190, I really want to come and work at your brokerage. Oh, 195 because I added 1.
But it's 193.
Stop it.
No, we can do 1.3.
Okay. Oh, wait. I want you to add one more thing, auditing. Auditing. Add that in the number 39 spot. It's huge. Thank you. Auditing, auditing, auditing. Who is? Regularly? Every year? Once every 10 years? Monthly. Everybody monthly? Quarterly. Lori, did you say everybody monthly?
Yeah, we have, our underwriting team is strictly in the company
Ah.
We have a very strict internal.
It's key. It's key. It's key. So if you've got this lovely current procedure manual, how do you know everybody's following it? It's a book. It's a bookend. That's all it is. So best score 195-ish. I want to come and work at your brokerage. A great score is 160 to 190 or 195. A good score is 120 to 160. A fair score is 90 to 119. And lots of opportunity if you're less than 90. And it truly is opportunity. So did you learn anything? So I see you did exactly what I wanted people to do on your sheet. Next idea. So as we talk through things, if it's something that you had started and not finished or decided we must do and we haven't started, did you capture ideas? Did you write down ideas, what you heard from other people? Excellent. Okay. So when we talk again next year, you're going to tell me that you did some of these things, right? Yes. Excellent. Okay, it's break time, guys. 2:15 till 2:30 is break. And then this is moving to an e-environment. John is doing filling the digital client experience gap. And that's it, just the two of us, right? Yeah. Thank you guys for your attention.